Opening game, our opening statement on the game, thought our defense played lights out, played really, really well. Not just the 4 turnovers, but in terms of just their fanatical effort and swarming to the football, playing with a lot of passion and intensity, really physical performance by them. And then was proud on a couple levels of the offense for being able to go against one of the nation's toughest defense and still put up, on the offensive side at least 27 points. And, that was a defense that, held Georgia and Ole Miss and some other really high-powered offenses really in check. And we were able to do it. Our offense was with 2 true freshmen on the offensive line, one as the starting center and the other one as the starting right guard, getting his first start of his college career, and just 3 weeks ago being a defensive lineman. So hats off to those guys. Certainly not a finished product by any stretch, but those kids went in there and held their own against one of the nation's best defenses. So proud of that. Still got a lot of work to do with that young offensive line. I think Greg's can certainly make some improvements as well in the way that he's playing. And our wideouts probably had their worst game of the year in terms of perimeter blocking and getting open versus man coverage. Was not very impressed with the way they performed. None of those guys graded out as champions for us. But moving on to this week, and obviously a very different dynamic when it comes to your opponent. Very, very explosive, high-powered offense coming to see us, and with a tremendous quarterback. So I would look to the offense this week to maybe carry us a little bit, understanding that, although our goal is to shut everybody out every week defensively, we understand that that goal may be a little bit far-fetched this week, considering the potency of the University of Cincinnati's offense. I expect our defense to play well and continue to improve, but shutting out a team in today's college football is practically unheard of. So for them to do what they did this past week speaks volumes to their level of preparation, but understanding that we've got a whole different animal coming into our stadium this week. So, questions? I think so. I think, momentum is a really powerful thing, especially when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men. And, the strong performances breeds confidence, and confidence then, in turn, breeds stronger performances, which in turn breeds more confidence. And it's a spiral, an upward spiral. So I think we're on the right path. I think we're starting to gain a lot of confidence in what we're doing and understanding what we're doing. And the one thing I saw this week, as opposed to any other week, we played well at times defensively, but we cut it loose. We weren't afraid to miss a tackle. We weren't afraid to go take the shot on the guy because we knew that we had 10 other guys swarming to the football. And if we miss, there was a lot of times in the first half of the season where we'd get a guy kind of corralled, and you'd see our defense kind of, break down and do one of these, and then they get run by. And we were just harping on them all, for a long time to pull the trigger, just go. You got your buddies got your back. And we did that against Vanderbilt, and hopefully that'll be a little bit of a testament to the way that we need to play from here on out. No, not the question was, do we feel any pressure mounting as we get deeper into the season? No, not at all. Pressure is that uneasy feeling that you have when you're not prepared, and we're prepared every week, and our team has a lot of confidence in the way that we go about our business in terms of preparation. And there is no big picture. When you talk to our staff or our players, we have no concern about the big picture. We have no even 1 second of wasted time, effort, or energy thinking about it, because as our mantra right there, the first pillar of our success is 1-0, and we're focused solely on being 1-0 this week against Cincinnati.
Tom, you've been a part of now 21 consecutive victories dating back to last year at Ohio State, and over the last 3.5 years, 46-3 from Ohio State to now. Do you remember what it feels like to lose?
Unfortunately, I do, and it's an awful, 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 awful feeling, and it's certainly the joy of victory and the joy of seeing young men that you have that you have taught and trained, see the joys on their and the happiness on their faces when they win is what ultimately motivates you. But that awful, awful feeling of losing certainly motivates you too. But I do remember what it feels like, and especially remember what it feels like when you feel like you were somewhat responsible for that loss too, and that's a feeling hopefully I don't have to experience again for a long time.
How would you grade the performance of someone like Cameron Eloff, who was playing defensive line at the start of the season, now having to start against a SEC defensive line?
Well, he pronounces it Elif, like elephant, but he did good. Went the wrong way a couple times, lost his block a couple times, but over the course of some odd snaps that he played very admirably for a guy that 3 weeks ago didn't even know what our plays were, had never even heard him before. And he's a bright kid. He sings in the choir. He's a piano player. I mean, he can do just about anything. Really fun kid to be around, and he will determine where his future is on this team in terms of position at the end of the season. But when you watch him play offensive line, you think this kid's got a chance to be pretty special there in terms of his athletic ability and his football smarts. But again, you threw a entire playbook at him in 2 weeks, and 6 months ago he was worried about what bow tie he was going to wear to the prom, and so it's a big challenge for him, but he'll continue to get better. I'm excited about watching him grow.
Coach, you talked about earlier in the season, this offensive line just keeps getting hit with injury after injury, and I mean, you joked about people coming up, even from the media, and getting in there. What do you do?
Joseph was the one, not people, just Joseph. That's the only one I want.
What do you do, and what have you done to keep the success going on the offensive line, even though it seems like every week you're getting challenged more and more and more?
We have the best offensive line coach in the country. I can say that without reservation. He's that good, and there's a culture in that room of toughness and of tough love, and they really do. I think there's a brotherhood and a love in that room that won't allow for anything other than success. And it's next guy's got to pick up the rifle and go. And again, another pillar of our success is competitive focus, which in layman's terms is that you are competitively ready when your number's called and you jog out on the field, that you're going to be prepared to win the football game for your team. And I think they have certainly taken that. And our fourth pillar of success, unit pride, and that pride in that unit very, very, very seriously. And they've got a great leader in Alex Cooper. To have one of your captains be an offensive lineman, a guy that's played a lot of football around here, it goes back to coaching, culture, and leadership.
What have you seen from Greg Ward this year, and what's made him so special and successful?
Well, he throws it better than people probably give him credit for. He throws it better than people probably want him to for being as dynamic of a runner as he is. He's a very competitive guy. I think he's a lot brighter maybe than people realize. He understands football. He gets it. I think his commitment to championship preparation is continuing to grow, which is a positive. But you know, he's again just scratching the surface. He's got a ton of room for improvement. Made some ill-advised decisions running the football last week, and probably took off and scrambled on some of our passes a little bit too early, which has been an issue for him throughout the season. And that's one that we may not break, you know, this year, but we can at least curtail a little bit of it. He's got to be a little bit more patient. You know, I mean, we're talking milliseconds, half a second, 3/4 of a second, but it could be the difference between completing a pass and taking off to scramble and getting tackled for a 2-yard gain. And we're going to continue to get him better in that area.
About Coach Wareheim being the best offensive line coach in the country, how do you identify the characteristics and hire the best offensive line coach in the country?
Well, one, I think they have to have a 100% alignment with what you want the culture of the offensive line, not only just the offensive line, but the offense then itself and the team itself. There has to be a tremendous amount of alignment there from what he believes. Because I can tell him, hey, I want it this way, but if he truly doesn't believe it, then, you know, there's an old saying, he convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And we share a lot of the same beliefs in terms of how physical we want that unit to be, and then just overall offensive philosophies, shared a lot of the same beliefs. And then he cares about his guys. He loves them. I mean, he dives into their lives, and he is consumed by their, not just the 4 hours that we have him here in the building, and not just X's and O's, but you know, he is on top of Carter Wall to get him graduated. You know, he's every day, you know, checking in on him and making sure he's doing the right thing in the classroom. You know, with the young guys, you know, he's taking the extra time to develop them in the culture. And so, and then, you know, he's an intense dude too, which really is, again, in alignment with what we want this program to be. And if any of you remember, you know, we had 8 of our 9 assistants were hired before signing day, and the one position that I wanted to make sure that I got right, so to speak, that I was still a little bit uncertain, was offensive line coach. And so I brought 3 or 4 guys in, actually interviewed them, each one of them for a day, and took the time, because I knew that singular position could make or break how good of an offense we were, and then in turn how good of a season we had, and we hit a home run with that one.
With the atmosphere on Saturday, rain and Halloween and everything like that, it's pretty impressive. And then this weekend, it's homecoming. What are you hoping for with the atmosphere from the fans and everything like that?
You thought last week's was impressive?
Thought it was pretty good.
Okay. I hope this week's you won't see an empty seat in the stadium. That's my goal each and every week, is to make sure that there are no empty seats, rain or shine, Halloween or All Saints Day, or you know, Columbus Day. To me, if the city of Houston and the alumni and supporters of our team, you know, we've got 3 opportunities left to show these young men just how much they appreciate the hard work and dedication that they have been giving to them, the alumni, the fans, the students, and the city of Houston. These young men have given them everything they've got for the last 11 months, and so the expectation each and every week is to make sure that each one of those seats is filled.
Coach, you You mentioned Cincinnati's offense, and you know they're going to get their yards. Is this one of those games, not to give away your game plan, do you try to, get the sustained drives, or do you just try to score as quickly as you can? Are you looking to get into a track meet? What do you think?
No, it's a good question. I think anytime, offensive football, there are the schools of thought, I don't know, I don't want to name names, but there are schools of thought out there that just running as many offensive plays as you can gives you the best chance to score a lot of points. That is without a doubt true. I mean, the simple statistics will tell you that. The more plays you run, the more opportunity you have to score. But our belief is that offense and defense and special teams are not mutually exclusive, and that, how you manage the game as an offensive play caller is determined by a little bit by how you're playing on defense and special teams, and vice versa. So I think, but at the end of the day, it's the offense's job to score points. It's the offense's job when they take the field. Their first goal is to make 2 first downs. We'll jog out the best punt team in America, pin them deep, jog out the best defense in America, hold them to 3 and out, and make them punt it back to us and get better field position, go try to do it again. Now, what the tempo is of that and how we go about doing it, I think ultimately a lot of times that's up to the opposing defense and how they tell you have to win the game. Unfortunately on offense, you go out and you say, well, we want to throw the ball a bunch today, and then they're in cover 2 Tampa the entire game. Well, hang on. We're not going to win the game throwing the football. We got to run the ball. And so the defense always has the pen last in terms, or the chalk last, however you want to say it, in terms of they kind of dictate where the ball goes and what their game plan is in terms of how they want to stop us, and then what areas then that opens up some vulnerabilities then on the defense, and you got to take advantage of that. So a very long-winded answer to say that we're going to win the game and score points. However, the opposing defense allows us to do that, but being mindful that if we are able to chew up some yards and take some time off the clock and keep the ball out of their offensive hands, we'll certainly try to do that.
Coach, obviously it's been a big emphasis to go 1-0
Where are we at?
all year this year, but with the team coming off a big emotional shutout victory over an SEC team with a potential matchup versus an unbeaten Memphis next week, is there anything different you're doing this week, anything extra to make sure the team is focused on Cincinnati? And is there anything you picked up at head coaching school under Urban Meyer on how to deal with a situation like this?
I mean, if we were playing Mary Sisters of the Poor, maybe. But this is the University of Cincinnati. They've beaten us 2 years in a row, and they're 5-3, and they were picked to win the eastern side of our conference, and they are a really, really good football team. So I don't see any necessity for any of that, for any extra motivation. I think I don't even know that who we play after Cincinnati. I don't know who we play after the game after Cincinnati. I know we play Cincinnati this week, and I think that message resonates very loud and clear with our players, and they understand who's coming into town to play us and what they're capable of doing.
Tom, it looks like Gunnar Kiel
Is this the longest you've gone from start to press conference to first question? Have we put a stopwatch on that, Bass? Is this a record? Congratulations.
You always want people to get some repetitions and
Right.
stuff. Gunnar Kiel looks like he's got his job, or at least the last couple games he's back in the lineup. Is it a matter of pick your poison on the two, because the freshman?
Oh, he's really good too. Yeah,
In terms of how you prepare.
Yeah, the freshman's a little bit better of a runner, but I don't anticipate seeing him unless Gunnar gets injured or is just playing awfully. So I would expect that we'll see Kiel most if not all of the game, and but we do understand when the other kid comes in, their packages don't change very much, but he is a slightly better runner, so you just have to be mindful of that.
And it would seem, and this is a William Jackson question, his matchup against Tulsa, that was one of his best performances of the year against their receiver. They have Cincinnati has Shaq Washington, another big matchup. You just kind of look at that in terms of how you'll need your DBs, especially.
Yeah,
Williams.
it'll be hard to, because they move Washington around quite a bit, so it'd be hard to say that we're gonna be able to just have William take him wherever he goes, like we did in the Tulsa game, because that kid played outside receiver the entire game. So we do understand his explosive ability and what he's done thus far this season, but. And I'm sure we'll have different ways that in certain situations, if in film breakdown, if we've seen, hey, in these situations, whether it be third and medium, third and long, or second and long, whatever, red zone, that, hey, 70% of the time or whatever, they like to throw it to Shaq, then, we'll have some sort of way to bracket him or whatever, because he is that good of a player. But for the most part, with him being moved around quite a bit, I think it'll be difficult to tailor your whole game plan around him. We've got to play good, sound defense and understanding where he is at all times, but not making too huge a deal out of it. Yeah, and they're running the ball really good, a lot better than they have in the past. I think they're averaging over 200 yards a game rushing. So you can't just sit back and defend the pass the whole game, or you'll get it run down your throat. And so, as with any game, you certainly have to stop the run first, but still be very sound, because these guys can throw the ball very, very well.